Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's edition of Frontier Opening Bell. I am Bosin Omofaye. Let's get today started. My panelist, Akintunde Sulaiman, who is from Greenwich Merchant Bank Limited. Good morning. Welcome, Akintunde. Hope you had a great weekend.
Good morning. Thank you. My weekend was great.
Thank you. We appreciate that. And Luke Ofojebe from Vettiva Capital, Head Equity Research and Analyst there. Thank you so much, Luke.
Good morning, Boasin. Thank you for having me.
Much. And Ali Segar is joining us. He's a governance and risk management compliance specialist. Ali joins us today from Dubai. Good morning, Ali. Thank you. Hope you had a great weekend. Thank you. Okay, let's get the show started. Good. Yes, the final trading days of September for markets such as Nigeria was quite very strong. On a week-on-week basis, the market went up 2.5%. We're looking to crossing the 27,000. The Ivory Coast market was down about 0.89%. Egyptian market was up 1.28%, a very solid print for the North African biggest market. Kenya market 0.24% in the green, and the South African GSE down 0.42%. Looking at East Africa, a couple of stories within the petroleum industry. The EPRA reviews petrol prices upward over the weekend. That is making the price of petrol, diesel, gasoline, and kerosene up in Kenya. Meantime, the Central Bank of Kenya reported a net surplus of 41.5 billion shillings in the full year 2020 against 26.1 billion earlier. That's for half year, by the way. And the Capital Market Authority in Kenya says the net asset base of all the online Forex dealers in the country stood at 234.27 million shillings in the month of May, tracking this online Forex as we also do within the Nigeria space. APSA has appointed Fulvio Tonelli from PwC as a non-executive director. A whole lot of stories this week will be from Africa's PMI, what we call the Purchasing Managers Index, and Nigeria is not an exception starting from today. But let's look at Nigerian markets in West Africa, where the big story within the Nigeria space relates to the stock markets rally that we saw since when the central bank decided to cut interest rate by 100 basis points to 11.5. But the stock exchange on Friday announced a revised bond fee structure starting from today. The impact of COVID-19 affecting Chevron Nigeria to lay off 25% of workforce. And in Senegal, President Sall is planning $26 billion investment to revive the country's economy. Let's start with the revised bond fee structure. Let me ask Akintunde here, what are your thoughts around this new structure that the Nigerian Stock Exchange just published?
Yeah, it's a great initiative for the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Looking at the fact that they are going from a company limited by guarantee to a PLC driven by profit. I won't say it's coincidental, but it's a great time because of their mutualization drive. So it's positive for the shareholders and those that have invested in the stock exchange, and it puts them at a comfortable position to make profit, and to deepen the market. And because the fixed income, the exchange is mostly known for stocks, but now that they are trying to deepen their alternative or other assets such as the fixed income and the mutual funds and the likes, I think it's a great initiative for them to deepen their market share and trading on the exchange.
Luke, I'm sure you're on the equity side, but I'm sure you keep an eye on all the markets, as it were, including the bond market. Fees by the stock exchange, what does it mean for you? What do you read to it?
What we are seeing right now is just more of a move by the NSE to actually expand its presence in the fixed income market. Clearly, like Akintunde mentioned, earlier, the Nigerian Stock Exchange is mostly known for equities trading. And if you look at its counterparts, that's FMDQ, that one is known for fixed income trading. And over the last 4 to 5 years, we've seen more companies go to the FMDQ to raise debt. So it's more like a flat platform to look at anytime companies want to go into fixed income transactions. So with this move by the NSE is more like an incentive to draw companies closer to the NSE if they want to raise debt capital. And it's also a way of boosting transaction volumes at the NSE. So over time, we've seen more of equities trading. And if you look at fixed income trading on the NSE, it's not even up to maybe 5% of equity trading. So I think that's this move will help to boost volumes of fixed income transactions on the NSE. Thank you.
In terms of the stories around the impact of COVID-19, Akintunde, are you surprised that this oil major in Nigeria, this American oil company, Chevron, is laying off some staff, about 25% of workforce in Nigeria?
Oh, no, it's not surprising. It's rather sad that while we see unemployment increase from about 23% to 27.1%, and we're going again with the oil companies laying off. Coupled with the fact that oil prices are relatively they've been low, although it's been stable recently, and production cuts imposed by OPEC on Nigeria, where we're shedding production cut of over 400,000. I mean, a day. So it has always been coming. It's just now that it's eating us. But I think it's a sad thing for the Nigerian economy. But for the companies, they're probably looking at profitability at this point. So it's not surprising. Usually what we have seen is where there are lower prices, production quota we offset those prices. But now you're having lower prices and you're having production cut across all OICs. So I mean, it's expected and it's what has been coming.
So we'll talk a little bit about your expectations for the current market week within the Nigeria space. But again, this week is the outlook on PMIs for a number of African economies, and Nigeria is not an exception. A few other economies will be reporting their purchasing managers index. Some folks believe that this could be an idea, give everyone an idea of where the markets should go, confidence in the economy moving forward. We saw from Japan early today, the European and the Eurozone and the UK PMIs also out about 30 minutes or so ago. So all of this will be a lot of considerations for the economies moving forward, even as we deal with the coronavirus pandemic. But within the economies across the continent, there are quite a number of corporate news, as we saw Dangote Sugar, major news moving that stock over the last week. Let's look at North African space very quickly and check in with some of the corporate news from there, which I want Ali to speak to. When you look at North Africa, some of the stories around the listed companies, for example, the Egypt-based Lorax Capital receiving 787 million Egyptian pounds from the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development. Kuala Holdings says its revenue increased almost 150% to about 17.8 billion Egyptian pounds in the first half of the year. Ali, what's the big story around these Kuala Holdings? Can you flesh it up for us a bit more?
Yeah, thank you very much. So Lorax Capital Partner is a private equity fund. So as you know, in Egypt, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, small businesses are facing reduced liquidity and lack of liquidity. So Lorax Capital Partners has built a fund to help SMEs mostly through a fund. So the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development announced they will invest $50 million in this fund to help these SMEs. And recently, I think one day ago, so 20 hours ago, so the European Investment Bank also announced a commitment with Lorax Capital Partner of 22 million in this fund. So it means that this fund won't reach $150 the SMEs. So this fund is quite a success in Egypt because, as you know, the SMEs in Egypt suffer a lot. So this is for Lorax Capital Partners. So Kala Holding is a story. Kala Holding, leading energy and infrastructure company. So what push, we can say, the good figures of Kala Holding is that Kala Holding is holding ERC. So ERC, what is it? It's a refinery for petroleum products. So they're doing refined products. So this new company has saved a lot of money from Egypt that they don't rely as much as on import as before. So it's, we can say, balance their payment deficit. So this is two great stories of Kala Holdings and Lorax Capital Partners.
Very interesting. How much more about the SMEs in Egypt can you tell us about the impact of COVID-19? Ali.
Yes. So COVID-19 had a huge effect on SMEs. So SMEs have suffered a lot because you have less tourists in Egypt and less consumption. Because Egypt is, we can say, is an economy based on the Canal Suez transportation. So it has been impacted a lot with the COVID-19 because less, we can say, commercial flows went to the Suez Canal. It has been impacted also by the remittance business. So less remittance has gone to Egypt, and it has been impacted also by the tourism, in fact, because quite no tourist has gone to Egypt for the last 6 months. So all SMEs has suffered a lot. So this fund will help SMEs to go through this, we can say, difficult situation.
Very difficult situation across Africa when you look at the SMEs and tourism. And Egypt is a major gateway into Africa. When you look at Egypt, you look at Morocco and Tunisia, very major countries within the. I'm sure if you look at Sharm el-Sheikh right now, it's going to be like a shadow of its former self when you look at the tourism that goes to such a place. Let's talk about Southern Africa a little bit, and we'll get a bit of a sense of the trading week, which we're starting today, the first trading day for the month of October, for a full week, by the way. But in Southern Africa, Fitch has assigned AngloGold $700 million bond, got a rating. PSG Capital appointed as a GSE listing sponsor for Botswana Choppies, which is a retailer. And South Africa's Kulala.com founder, Gideon Novik, is launching a retail airline, launching an airline in December. The South African Airways is still there. What does this really mean? We'll see how that goes, looking at the global tourism, the pandemic, and what have you. Zambia, the country's ZCCM Investment, which is the company with the country's state-owned enterprise in charge of government investment, reporting a profit of 438.9 million Zambian kwacha in the first half of the year. Let's get back to the West African market and quickly one, Luke, when Ali spoke about the SMEs, we've seen a few funding from the Nigerian government when it comes to SMEs in Nigeria. Do you think we're doing enough?
I won't really say the government is not doing enough, but we should be looking at the environment itself. So you need to make the environment more conducive for businesses. I think that's the major issue that the government needs to address, not even funding, because if we keep injecting significant amount of money into SMEs and the environment itself is not friendly for businesses, then the money is of itself no use to these business owners. So when I say the environment, first and foremost, we need to tackle the issue of security. We also need to tackle the issue of infrastructural gap in different sectors. Take, for instance, look at the power sector. We have installed power capacity of about 14,000 megawatts, but we only consume about 2,000 megawatts in the country. Then you look at road network itself. The government should look at how it can connect the 6 geopolitical zones in the country. If we can do this, that will help to facilitate the industrialization of other states. And this overcrowding we are seeing in Lagos states, we will not be seeing something like that. We'll be seeing developments across board. We'll be seeing industrializations in different parts of the country, and that will help to support sustainable economic growth. So it's not more about injecting funds into these businesses. Clearly, that's needed, especially during this period when the economy is still battling with the impacts of COVID-19. But more than that, we need to address the issue of making the environment more conducive for businesses.
I consider you work for a merchant bank, so I'm sure you understand this very well about investment and capital that needs to go into MSMEs.
Yes, like who Luke rightly said, for the MSMEs, the challenge is beyond finance because infrastructure-wise, there is a lag, and it is difficult to loan or to give finance to companies where you're not sure of of the return. You're not sure if you're even going to get your principal back, talk less of the agreed interest. So it's a difficult terrain to operate, and coupled with the fact that there's a general lack of data across that sector. It's a huge sector in the country, but there's just the lack of data to quantify and qualify the impact on that sector. Even the financing, the government financing, you'll be surprised to know that there's no way to track those finances, not even the disbursement, but the impact it's having on those companies because there's just a general lack of data. So it's a difficult terrain to operate. It's aside the financing, I think is more of fundamental infrastructure issues than we going into financing for now.
Thanks, Ali. Let me ask you a quick one about the Egyptian market when you talk about energy infrastructure and all of that. How much of these private equity investments are going into energy? What is Egypt looking to achieve here in terms of energy sustainability?
Yes. So more less, we can say, dependent on external source of energy. So as you know, you have a big project in Eastern Mediterranean for Egypt. So Egypt is sharing with Israel and some other country in the region some big gas fields, but or we can say in a few years or in the long term. But in the short term, what need Egypt, this is to reduce its dependence from external countries, because when you see the dependence, you see also the value. It makes a lot the payment deficit of the country. So this is why they are trying to reduce as much as possible the import of energy from outside.
Interesting. On a final note, give me your trading week outlook, Akintunde Suleiman, for the Nigerian space.
Okay, for the Nigerian market, I think the equity market will continue to go bullish. We'll see some sort of asset switch between investors and market players. We're expecting a lot of liquidity into the fixed income market. The OMO bill specifically, we're having about 500 billion maturing this week. So we're expecting that to trickle into those solid fundamental stocks on the equity market. We saw last week. There was significant trade across Zenith Bank, Guarantee, UBA, which presents solid dividend yield opportunities. So we're expecting those tickers to continue trending bullish. However, we are not going to rule out any profit taking bust in the market. The fixed income space, we'll see cautious buy across the bill market. We'll see investors, market players stay at the sidelines for the bills market. However, the bond market will continue to go bullish as investors seek solid yields on oversold bonds.
Luke, what about equity space?
I quite agree with what Akintunde said about the equities market. Of course, we do expect the positive sentiment to bring that on this week as well. We believe that investors might just continue to switch from the fixed income market to the equity market due to the low rates we currently have in the fixed income market. So we expect to see more liquidity inflows into the equity market. However, the momentum might slow down towards the end of the week, given the upticks we've already started seeing in share prices. So we believe that by the end of the week, investors might just slow down on this bargain hunting. And probably next week, when we must have noticed significant gains in the equity markets, we might just start seeing profit taking for investors who want to take advantage of short-term gains.
I was thinking you're going to go over and just get the 27,000 on the equity index or share index before the end of the week. And I wouldn't mind if you take all the way to 15 trillion naira for the equity cap. But of course, it's been a very good time so far with the interest rate cut by the central bank that has spoiled things. Ali, do you have any final take on the Egyptian markets?
No, nothing else, no.
Okay, thank you so much, Ali. Ali Sega, thank you so much. Governance and risk management specialist speaking to us today from Dubai. Thank you so much for your time. Luke Ofojebe, equity strategies and research analyst at Betiva Capital. Thank you very much. And of course, Akintade Sulaiman from Greenwich Merchant Bank. Three of you. It's Monday. Let's get the week started, gentlemen. Thank you so much. We appreciate your time.